Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your next series. Just a couple of reminders before we go into it. Firstly, this is not to replace your health practitioner's advice. Always consult with your health advisor before starting any exercises. And next, please remember that it's not a certified course. It is a self-help to reach as many people as we can, with the world being in the state it is in the moment, to help to release stress, anxiety, depression, and any other psychosomatic disorders. If, however, you do get to a space where you feel that you'd like to teach this, please check in the description below. There's all the details of how you can register to become a teacher. Also in the description below, we're going to pop a couple of extra movies on the subject that you may be interested in having a look at. And you'll also find our email address. There you can also register for the course. You'll see our website there also, and the website has our shop on with a lot of our products on, so maybe pop on and have a look at that. And lastly, everyone that knows me very well knows that I don't need to be liked, but I do ask for like, subscribe, join, and share. If this is to get to as many people as possible, we need you to do this. And so it's not for me, but for all the people that are in dire need. This could save a life. So have a think about that and enjoy the next series. So yesterday we chatted about the energy field of love. And I think what we came to see is that we are actually soul having the human experience. How do we know that? Well, the human body, when we pass away, stays here. Okay, what continues? Our soul continues, which means that we are soul having the human experience. And we need to understand that part of us. The soul is the outer layer. We have the mental body and the emotional body, and those are also not who we are. They are the bridge between the physical body and the soul body. And the soul body gives us guidance and inspiration, but only when we are silent. And that is why we have to learn how to bring the mind and emotions to calmness, so that we can connect back to soul to get inspiration and guidance on any of our problems, any of our areas that we're going through life, how to walk our path. That is the only way we're going to understand. Remember that we said we are unique and individual, which means that nobody knows exactly what we're going through. Nobody can actually heal us on a multi-dimensional level. Okay, doctors are very important for the physical body. That is what they're here for. But on a multi-dimensional level of mind, body, emotions, and soul, we have to work with techniques to bring the bridge, the mind, and the emotions to a calm, still space, so that we can hear the guidance from our soul. And that guidance is very important from our soul, because it is the only part that has lived with us right from the beginning of birth all the way through our life and knows exactly what we need. So having said that, again, we are soul having the human experience. Okay, if you have a look at the meaning of human being, hue means ray or radiance, man means mind, and being is essence or soul. Okay, so we are a human mind in essence or soul, but the mind is not actually who we are, it's the bridge to the soul. So we're going to be going into those techniques and having a look at them. And just going back to the energy field of love and us being multi-dimensional beings, there are also even more things to us. We have different layers of consciousness, okay? For argument's sake, you have the little ants crawling around on the ground. They are not even aware that we are here. They just go about doing their work with no clue that we're existing. If we have a look at our physical body, inside our physical body, there are a whole lot of cells that are all operating and working together to keep our physical body working, all right? And they are not even aware that they are in a bigger body, ourself. Now, what we're not aware of is that, because of the different layers of consciousness, is that we are in a bigger body, and the bigger body is called Earth. And what we're not aware of is that Earth is in a bigger body, the bigger body called the universe, okay? So going back to the energy field of love, that means that we are one. So the little song that my children and I sing, I'm going to put it down in the comment and the description below, so that anytime that you're feeling a little bit out of sorts or alone in the world or alienated or anything like that, just play this little song to remember that we are one in a bigger body, the bigger body of Earth, and Earth is one in a bigger body, the bigger body called Earth. So we treat each other with kindness and love, knowing that we are one. If my blood cells, red and white, start fighting against each other, the bigger body gets ill, okay? Now, that happens on a multi-level area also, where if we are all fighting each other, what is happening? We're affecting the bigger body of Earth. So it's not only on a physical basis, because Earth also has an electromagnetic field. And what's harming our planet is the thoughts and the feelings that we're having. If they are of anger, hatred, it is low vibration. And that harms the energy field of the Earth, not only on a physical level of plastic and gases and all that kind of thing. So it's a huge subject that we have to be looking at to actually bring healing back to not only ourselves and our minds and emotions, but to the Earth also. Now, what will happen is, if the Earth is vibrating at that, it can actually impact on the universe also. Now, that is obviously not going to happen, because love, call it God, is the organizer. It is its plan, not anybody else's plan. And anybody can think that they can sort it out, but there is a bigger picture. God, generator, generates life. Organizer organizes the processes that it goes through. And destroyer says, if you do not listen, we will destroy, to keep the balance in the universe so that it doesn't affect all the other planets and the multi-universe. How does it destroy? By acts of God. Floods, volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes. And what happens in those times? We get fearful and we withdraw. We come back to ourselves and we withdraw. And we think, what's going to happen if this carries on? And in that fearful moment, we ponder, we contemplate, I need to be a better person. I need to live right, because if I die, I want to go to a good space. Now, when you're in that place, it is there for a certain period of time. What happens is, maybe 2 or 3 weeks down the road, or a month or 2 months down the road, we forget all about that fear that we had, and we go back to being who we were. Why? Because we have amnesia. So we go right back. Once the fear is gone, we go right back to being who we were. And that's why we're going to be looking into the mind. And the only reason that we're going back to who we are and repeating our same old patterns over and over, exactly the same as a person that says, I promise I'll never do it again, and they keep repeating that same pattern over and over again, it's because of the programs hold in the mind, and all the memories, all the things that you've been through, that creates the outlook to life, how you see and how you react to life, that are still old programs. We have to eradicate those and replace it with new programs. And when we go into the mind, we'll be having a look at exactly how to do that. So what we're going to do now is, there's something that I always tell people, is that what you have to remember is something that you're not aware of, which is I have found to be truth for myself again, and you'll probably find that also, is that we have to take responsibility for our own life, okay? If our thoughts and feelings from the story of the energy field of love is attracting to us people and circumstances, it is up to us to change our vibrations from lower vibrations to higher vibrations. Nobody can do that for us. And we have to work with the mind and emotions, giving them the food that they need to allow them to do that. So what becomes quite evident is that once you're working with this stuff, is we're saying, if our multi-dimensional being, our mind and emotions, are attracting to us people and circumstances, and we want them to be higher vibration, what we're actually saying is what we think, what we feel, and what we say is what we're creating in our life. Now, that is huge, okay? Because it is happening whether we were aware of it or not. If we're thinking high vibrational thoughts, feelings, and having words of high vibration, we're attracting. If we're having thoughts, words, and feelings of lower vibration, that is what we're attracting. So what do we need to do? We have to go back to the roots of the problem, which is in the mind and the emotions, and sort those out. Going on a more multidimensional basis, where the problem starts is in the mind. The mind has a thought. The thought creates a feeling in the energy body, okay? We never have a feeling without having a thought. A thought comes first. That creates a feeling in our body, and what most people aren't aware is that that feeling impacts on the physical body, because we are holding a feeling of tension, and somewhere in the body, that tension is held in the emotion. Now, as I explained to you, we're going to be going through the home of the emotions, which we call chakras, where different emotions live in different parts of the body. They're not physical, but the area that they're located. And we said that vital energy has to flow through the body for balance of mind, body, emotions, and soul. There has to be balance. Now, if the vital energy cannot flow because we're holding tension, for argument's sake, in the heart center, we're holding regret, anger, unforgiveness, whatever other emotions go with that area, the energy cannot travel through. And then the physical body gets an ailment. So especially if it's a psychosomatic disorder, physical bodies can get ailments that the physical doctors can heal those ailments. But what we're hearing today is that most of our physical ailments are coming from stress, and that is why. It's emotions that we're holding in the different areas of our body, depending on which emotions we're holding. So we're going to go back to that probably in the next lesson, where we're going to look at the different areas of the body where the emotions are being held. And it's a beautiful thing, because every time I go through this with my teachers in training, they all relate back and say, wow, these are the emotions I'm having. And yes, this is the physical body part that I'm having a problem with. So clearly it is the emotion. Let's clear the emotion so that we can help to clear the physical body. Remember again, it's not for physical issues that the doctor deals with. We're talking when it's psychosomatic, stress and anxiety that is creating the disorder, okay? So it gets very exciting when we get into this, and yeah, we're going to look at that. But we first of all need to look at the anatomy of our physical and non-physical bodies. And we all know that we have two nervous systems. First nervous system is the central nervous system, which is physical, and it sits from the brain, joining the brain all the way down the spine to the base of the spine, okay? We then have another nervous system, and that is the peripheral nervous system, which is the cranial and the nerves and those kind of things. We then have another system inside the peripheral nervous system, and that is called the autonomic nervous system. Okay, we had to stop for a moment there because I heard a tractor in the distance, and we are on a working farm, so they do happen to come closer by and pass, and when that happens, it drowns my voice out. So let's go back and recap a moment. We said that we have a central nervous system, we have a peripheral nervous system, and inside the peripheral nervous system is our autonomic nervous system. Now that nervous system is a divine intelligence that operates all on its own. We know it does. It tells our heart to beat. It tells us when to breathe in and out. It tells our hair to grow and our nails to grow, and it works 24/7. Whether we are sleeping or not, it has to continue operating, and it is a divine intelligence. Our energy body works with that. How do we know that? Because when we go to sleep, we have dreams, the mind is working, and we have emotions. Sometimes we wake up and we're crying or we're scared, all right? They work in the autonomic nervous system. Now, the autonomic nervous system, as we said, is a divine intelligence, and it can be guided, which we're going to get into a lot more detail later. But having said that, that also has two systems in it. Your sympathetic nervous system, which is your energetic get up and go state, okay? And then it also has your parasympathetic nervous system, which is when you're relaxed, laid back, resting. Now, what's happening in the world today with the modern pace of living is that we have gone into overdrive in the sympathetic nervous system. It's run, run, go, go, go. The parasympathetic nervous system is not receiving the relaxation, the resting, the rejuvenating it needs, which is in meditation and breath work and all that kind of thing. So it has weakened. With that weakening and the sympathetic nervous system being in overdrive, there is imbalance, and that is why we're having things like insomnia, migraines, and all those kind of things that are coming from the psychosomatic disorders, which are mental and emotional disorders, and that is why we have to come back to the mind and emotions to heal those. So we'll be going into all these beautiful things. It's quite exciting because we get to learn about ourselves on a deeper level that we actually didn't even understand was there. And once we know it and understand it and the operation behind it, it makes it easier. So our bodies are chemists that have hundreds of thousands of chemicals in them. And if they're stimulated correctly, they produce those chemicals. If, for argument's sake, we're having tension thoughts, okay, and they're all about feeling disconnected or whatever, that's going to have a tension in the crown of our head. Now, those thoughts that we're holding, the physical body that it's going to affect then would be your pituitary and your pineal gland. And both of those glands, and a lot of the other glands, all secrete chemicals for our emotions, dopamine, serotonin, to keep us happy. And if they're not secreting because there's tension in that area, that is where we get the chemical imbalance. So we're going to learn how to stimulate them naturally, okay, and give them what they need so that they can work naturally. And a lot of that area, your glands, especially the pituitary, would be breath work and meditation, all right? The relaxation, the letting go, getting relaxed, okay? And I hope this makes a little bit of sense to you of how we operate. We need to operate as a multidimensional being. I think that was quite a lot to take in today, so I'm going to leave you to watch over that a couple of times, and we'll see you next week. Sending love.